What's up, homies? It's Brendan from Modern to Me, and today we are going to be learning about a concept called, wait for it, polymorphism. It sounds like ridiculous, right? Like something crazy. It's actually so much simpler than its name makes it sound. So let me just demonstrate it right now because it's really nothing tricky at all. So what you see here is I have like a sword, sword 1, sword, sword 2, and bow, bow 1. Well, these objects are actually very similar. They're all subclasses of the weapon class. So they're actually not too different at all, really. They actually all have the same methods and the same instance variables. They just have different definitions of them. Like the descriptions are a little different, the calculate damages are a little different. But when it comes down to it, they're really like almost the same objects, just have different, like slightly different values and data. So what you can do with polymorphism is you can actually have these be the same type. If you have weapon, weapon, and weapon, you can have these all be weapon types. Now you're still having it be a sword object and a bow object, but it's just of the type weapon. So yeah, I know I said you can't create an object of the type weapon because weapon is an abstract class. Well, yes, weapon is an abstract class, but we're not creating weapons. We're creating a bow, and we're creating two swords. You're just using the weapon class name to hold this bow class and these sword classes. You still have sword objects, and you still have a bow object. It's just in this weapon class. So you can use this to your advantage, and if you run this program, it runs the exact same. There's really no difference. So it's just kind of like a useful way to associate these classes together. Now first there's a couple methods I wanted to fix because I think we can be doing more with this here. So I'm just going to update our descriptions to make them look a little more functional. So we have this sword increases max damage by 50%, and I'm going to say its max damage is, and then space, and then I don't know if I taught you this. I think I did probably. Just type the plus and then type the variable name, max damage, and then we'll just finish it off. And I'll go new line. And so there we go. So now we're going to print out not only what it does, but also its max damage itself. And we are going to do the same with bow.java. Oh, I'm getting kind of an error here. Oh, I need another plus. There we go. And still getting an error. Geez, I see. Need the quote, not single quote, double quote. Okay. I look to be good. Now I'm going to do the same in the bow class. Just real quick. Its max damage is plus max damage. And then just finish it off nicely. There we go. Oops, this needs to be N. Okay, so I just want to change that because that was really bothering me because I think we can make these be a little more useful, you know? So let me actually show you what I really love about polymorphism. So this is cool, right? You know, you can make it have the same class that's kind of holding all of these objects, but we can do something even better. So this is kind of a concept we haven't talked about in a while, but it's always good to bring things back because you're always going to be using everything. So we're going to import java.util.arraylist. So import this array list here. Now we're going to create an array list of type weapon, and we'll just name it weapons, and set it equal to new array list weapon and empty parentheses. Okay, so if we wanted to hold all of these sword 1, sword 2, bow 1 in an array list all together without polymorphism, we couldn't. Because they're different objects. So if we had these two swords be stored in sword classes, how would we store it with a bow class? Because if this was a bow and we have this as sword, we have this as bow, you can obviously see there's some conflict here. So that's why we create this as a weapon. So now we have this weapons array list, and we can add weapons.add, or weapons.add. We're going to add sword 1, and we'll add all three of these. Sword 2, and of course bow 1. So we'll still keep these prints in the total number of weapons, but now what we can do is if we create our enhanced for loops, so for, we'll just go weapon and then we'll just name it W. In weapons, we can do W dot, or we'll need to go system dot out dot print ln, or we can just do print because we already have the new line in W dot description. Let's see what happens. We see, oops, I messed up some new line stuff here. Hang on, let me just make my code look nicer. Okay, cool. So now let's print this, or run this again, I should say. We can see that we're getting the same code at the top, nothing changed there, so changing it to weapon didn't change anything. But now we're storing all three of these objects in the same array list, and within this array list, we're printing out this description methods. And these description methods are different. If you see in sword, this is a totally different method than the one from bow. We're totally different methods. I mean, yeah, they're the same, but their definition is totally different. But we're using the same exact code to print them out. So this is this blows my mind to this day. I think it's so cool. You have two totally different methods, but you're using the same exact code, and they're both getting printed out. And it's printing out. It's printing them out right too. No mess ups here. It's completely 100% accurate. I love polymorphism, guys. Programming is great. Life is great. So that's all. That's all I have for you guys. It's 7-minute tutorial for concepts as awesome as polymorphism. I'm going to have, and we're wrapping up, we're really close to the end, but in the final exercise, I'm going to be making sure I'm testing for this polymorphism, because polymorphism is essential to game making. Let me just kind of like demonstrate a concept or something for you. So like if you had, let's say you had, just another example, you have a class enemy. I know we were developing enemy at some point, I believe. So you have this parent class enemy. It can be abstract or not abstract. If it's for polymorphism, classes don't have to be abstract, but they can be, and a lot of times they are. So you have this class enemy, and then you have all of these subclasses. You have ogre and vampire and wolf. You have all of these different enemies, and you're creating all of these enemies on like the same map level. So you have this array list. I'll just shorten things out. You have this array list of enemies, and within these enemies you have like 30 different enemies, and they're all different kinds of enemies. You have ogres and vampires and all of these, and you can call like enemy, or I guess if you had a for loop, like enemy dot attack, and you could use this code to have these enemies all use their individual, unique, awesome attack methods on like your main character, and you're using this same line of code, enemy.attack, and it is attacking your player with a completely unique method every single time. It's awesome. I definitely encourage you to fully grasp this concept of polymorphism. Definitely essential to game programming, polymorphism is. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. We're wrapping up real quick, just like 4 more tutorials left. It's getting sad, but I'll see you guys in the next one.